What's up, guys? Welcome to Braves Country News. I'm your host, Kale Diestel. Along with me is my co-host. As you may have heard, Monday, November 4th, was a pretty busy day for kind of setting the stage for the Braves offseason ahead, as we had many player options to decide. We picked up a few, and we declined a few, and we re-signed a couple. So let's just dive into it, Mick. First up, we got our boy, Tyler Flowers. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Tyler?
Yes, the veteran catcher back with the Braves. We signed him back to a one-year, $4 million deal. His option was originally for $6 million with a $2 million buyout. But thankfully, Anthopoulos had the bright idea, going ahead and paying him his $2 million buyout and then proceeding to sign him to a one-year, $4 million deal. We know that he's not the greatest defender maybe behind the plate, but he's a framing genius. His framing being in the 90th percentile among MLB catchers in total. So he's one of the best framers in the game. I mean, his hitting as far is average at best, but that's what you're looking for in a catcher, especially a backup. And so I just think that this is a great idea by Anthopoulos to get a backup catcher for little to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, with McCann retiring after the season, the Braves had no catching options, as Alex Jackson is, I mean, you can't trust him and go into the season with him being your starting catcher. So obviously picking up Tyler's option was ideal, but even better, they didn't even just pick up his option. They just said, hey, how about we just re-sign you to a $4 million deal? They're going to allocate that $2 million. It will not be on our current payroll, give us more money to spend in free agency, some big name or even just backup players or whatever, or even make trades with players who have heftier contracts. So this really gives us a lot of leeway for this upcoming season. I love the move. Maybe, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. We may have a platoon back at catcher still. Kind of do how they have been doing these past few years with Kurt and Flowers, or even McCann and Flowers this past year. They may go that route, or they may just completely say, hey, Tyler, we're going to keep you as our backup catcher, and you're just going to be here to help develop these guys. But overall, I think we both agree this was a good signing. And a signing that we needed to have. But up next, Tyler wasn't our only stud that we re-signed. We came back with Nick Markakis, the old vet. Nick, what you got on him?
Yeah, man, basically the same process. You know, the same thing they did with Tyler. He had the same buyout option of $6 million, put the $2 million buyout on the payroll, and instantly signed him to a one-year, $4 million deal, saving $4 million to our 2020 payroll. Making the smart move here, you know, and seeing that he may finally be a platoon with his stats very good against right-handed pitchers and Duvall very good against lefties. Markakis batted versus right-handed pitchers a .298 batting average with a .816 OPS. Also, all 9 of his home runs that he hit last year were against right-handed pitchers. So we know that Nick can hit lefties. He's shown that in the past, especially with his age. The defense is decent, but they're going to try Ronnie in right field, as we know. And so having him in left field on another cheap deal, I mean, you can't get it any better for a platoon left fielder.
Yeah, I mean, again, AA coming back with being a genius and signing Markakis. However, I'm not completely sold that they are going to go with a platoon. This option does leave us with plenty. We can fill it in that hole. We can still hit free agency, get somebody such as Marcell Ozuna, Yasiel Puig, just to name a couple, or we can go in the trade market, get Mitch Haniger, or even get the stud Mookie Betts to fill in. But yeah, I mean, it's a cheap deal. Can't complain about it. Production. However, I don't want Markakis being our 5-hole hitter this season. I would rather see him and Duvall be our 6th or 7th hitter in the batting lineup this year. However, we know Snit, he loves Markakis. So unless we make a move this offseason, expect Markakis being to bat 5th. But like I said, there are still plenty of moves to be made. We've got a lot of holes to fill. But this just allows AA to have more flexibility with who they add to this playoff caliber team, to this World Series caliber team. And one thing I loved is AA's quote. He said that we talked with Markakis about returning to us on a lighter deal, but in left field. And I truly believe that means that they are looking to move Ronnie, or if they don't move Ender, they're going to move Ronnie to full-time in right field, which I don't know if you remember, Mick, but whenever he played against the Blue Jays in Toronto, I think it was game 1, he had 2 amazing throws to throw runners out from right field at second base. 2 guys out. It was just beautiful. I think he's more of a natural right fielder than he is center fielder, but with that being said, he's still a great defender. So Markakis coming to left field. I love it. I can't wait to see what it's going to be like. But yeah, this deal was just a no-brainer. The one that has some controversy behind it is Julio Teheran. Mick, what's your opinion on Julio in this option?
Yeah, man, this is a hard move, but it is time. We declined his $12 million club option, so it was strictly for the Braves to decide. Julio just hasn't really been putting up the numbers that he needs to be to make himself worth $12 million, especially with a low market team like the Braves and possibly being the 5th starter next year. 3.81 ERA isn't bad, but when you look at his FIP being at a 4.66, it really causes problems, especially as a 5th starter being at $12 million there. He's losing his control a little bit with 14 hit by pitches this year. He really hasn't bounced back since his 2016 year. I don't think the Braves have the best plan if they're going into 2020 with him as the $12 million 5th starter. But we could possibly bring him back. It's not a far out reach to say that he might join the Braves back on a cheaper deal. But with that being said, I don't really see it likely with other teams needing starting pitching.
Yeah, I love Julio. He's been with us forever, it seems like almost. I feel like every year I've been a fan. He's been our so-called ace, or just our opening day starter. Yeah, I agree with you. It's time to move on, especially at $12 million a year. A 3.81 ERA looks fine, but then when you see the 4.66 FIP, you're like, come on, man, I need a little more out of you. Also, what concerns me was his 1.32 WHIP. You just can't have that. And paid someone $12 million a year. Had a low strikeout to walk ratio of 1.95 strikeouts per walk. At $12 million, you're not paying a fifth starter $12 million.
Maybe if we had more depth, Julio wasn't going to be the 5th starter, then maybe he would be more likely to get a position on here for $12 million. But with the fact that we have so many options, $12 million of our payroll allows us to reach and go get a better starting pitcher, not to mention the prospects we have down in the minors.
Just financial flexibility, as AA called it last offseason. That's what the Braves are dealing with, is financial flexibility, and that's what declining Julio's option is going to be. So I'm interested to see where he goes. If the Braves did pick up his option, though, I would have expected him to have been traded. So yeah, if the Braves would have picked up his option, I would have been like, okay, there's a trade coming. So this really was a no doubter for me, but at the same time it still hurts to see him go. But yeah, so it doesn't surprise me. Last one, not going to spend a lot of time on, Billy Hamilton. I think we both agree $7.5 million for Billy is not going to start for us.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, no. This doesn't surprise me, and I'm sure it doesn't surprise you at all.
No, not at all. It's purely a September pickup. He did his job. He came in the clutch when he needed to for base running and defensive substitution. I don't see the Braves coming back with a minor league deal or anything, because I think someone else is going to offer him to play, at the major league level, one of these smaller market teams. But yeah, he served his role, and there's no shame here.
Yeah, thanks, Billy, but it's time. We're going. Like you said, September pickup, just trying to get that extra depth so guys can get their time off. Nothing to see there. $7.5 million, not a chance. But like you said, I think he'll be on a smaller market team, such as I could see Miami pulling him in, or even the Mariners, somebody like that, pulling him in, saying, hey, come play for us just for a little bit, just be a bridge guy. But yeah, I don't see the Braves bringing him back at all. Other than that, those were all of the options the Braves had to decide on the 4th of November. That was the deadline to make these options. However, that doesn't mean the Braves are done with the offseason. There's still plenty to do, as they've already extended a qualifying offer. Josh Donaldson, JD, whatever you know him as. But with that being said, follow us first on Instagram at Braves Country News. We will be having our first ever podcast come out, and it will be called Braves Country Radio. It will be released soon. Follow us on Instagram for more dates revolving that.
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram is the best way to keep up with this. That's where our market started, and it's our biggest market on any social media platform, coming into YouTube and now getting into the podcast. But yeah, you got to follow the Instagram if you want to keep up with everything.
Absolutely. But along with that, like I said, Braves Country Radio will be a podcast. Will be available on most platforms. Follow the Instagram. We'll let you know everything once we get it in solid writing. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Like this video. Let's keep it going. Thank you for checking in with us. And remember, Braves Country, chop on.